Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you've been following our Instagram, then you know a few days ago we went to see the Eternals premiere in Houston, and we always go with this big group of friends. They're called the H-Town MCU Squad. So we wanted to make this video for you guys because since we can't do a reaction to the movie, we wanted to be able to tell you about our experience with our group of friends and the big event that they always throw. And we did want to give y'all a review on the movie since we can't do a reaction. So we are going to be talking about this movie in full detail. So if you haven't seen the Eternals movie, make sure you go to the theater, watch the movie, and then come back and hang out with us. But before we get into our movie review, we did want to talk about the group of people we go to see these Marvel movies with. They're the H-Town MCU Squad. We've already gone for a few years now. We went for Infinity War and Endgame. And honestly, it's such a fun experience. You know, it's just a bunch of Marvel fans. We get together, you know, rent out a whole restaurant and basically just eat, drink, and then we do play games. There's always fun games and different themed games for, you know, each event, right? And then basically right after that, we all go into the movie together and just have a blast. So it was a really fun time. And if you're a Marvel fan, it's a great way to go see a movie premiere.
Yeah, we always have a blast whenever we go hang out with the H-Town MCU Squad. So shout out to Manuel and Angel for inviting us. We always love going over there and checking out the event. They always go all out with the decorations and the cosplayers and the games. It's so fun. Especially this year, they had like this photo booth set up with like a 360 swivel camera.
Go check out the Instagram for
it was awesome. Madison took a bunch of videos on that thing. And then we even got to play some games this year. It's usually like randomized, like they just pull names out of a hat. So luckily we both got to play this year. I was playing this like Hulk smash game where we dressed up like the Hulk and we had to like smash these green cups, and then first person to win got a prize. I didn't win. But I did punch the guy that won because I didn't like that. And then Madison actually played like a Black Widow like twerking game. You want to tell us about that? How did that go?
Yeah, it was the Black Widow twerk off, and basically, you know, you've got your utility belt and it's got a bunch of bombs in it, and you got to get them out of the utility belt by using only your twerking powers, you know, because, you know, that's what Black Widow has. And basically, I was the first one done, like, by a lot, and I don't think anybody realized that I had already gotten them all out, but...
I thought there was a hole in your box or something. I was like, how did she get rid of all of them already? Everyone else is still, like, twerking.
The twerking powers, you know
what
I'm saying?
So, yeah.
But anyways, you had to wear a red wig, too. It was so funny. But anyways, like, we had such a good time, and then we... because I won like a huge bag of prizes, and I remember in the first few years we ever did this, the prizes were a lot smaller, so it was crazy when they just handed me the big red bag. I was like, oh my goodness.
Filled with goodies, yeah.
I know. We got like an H-Town MCU like hat. We got a really cool mug that it's like one of those like igloo ones, and it basically says, you know, the fight for our world is eternal. It looks so cool. And then we did get some like cool wall art for like our house. And then we did get like a little fun candy dispenser with a fan, and it has Black Widow on it. So yeah. Definitely enjoyed that.
So yeah, very successful event. We honestly can't wait for Spider-Man. That should be the next event with them. So thanks again to everybody who participated, and to Manuel and Angel for inviting us once again. We had a lot of fun with you guys. But for now, the reason we are shooting this video and why we drove to Houston was for the Eternals movie. So we wanted to talk about that a little bit. We did see it in IMAX, so we sat right in the middle, so it was like huge. The sound was amazing. So I guess the good things first, right? Like the soundtrack was amazing. The visuals were amazing, obviously.
Oh yeah, like there were so many scenes that just made you feel so small because of just how grand they were. And then seeing them on the IMAX even made it like worse. Like they were just incredible scenes. It really they really captured a lot of the like beautiful landscapes that they shot these scenes in, which one thing I did want to touch on. I was happy that a lot of the scenes were shot on location. Yeah.
Yeah, I really did enjoy like the scale of it all and like the spectacle of it all. So if you can see it in IMAX, I definitely recommend doing so.
Oh yeah.
The CGI in the fight scenes I thought was great.
Yeah.
And I was a little worried because I remember when the trailer came out, the CG for some of the deviant scenes looked a little rough. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that it was, I guess, cleaned up a little bit for the final product.
It cleaned up, and then they also didn't do that thing like in recent movies that have come out where they don't like their fight scene, so then they put it in the dark, thinking we're not going to notice that.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, the CGI looked incredible. Obviously, they touched it up, but they did it in broad daylight and like on a beach.
Yeah.
So
they couldn't hide the CG.
They couldn't hide any of that, and it looked really good. It definitely was one of the cooler scenes in the movie. I definitely enjoyed that fight scene. It was like a live action anime. It was pretty crazy. And then I thought that the CGI on the actual deviants looked cool, and I definitely was scared of those guys for sure.
I was worried that they were going to end up just being like fodder, like some like villains end up being in some MCU movies, like their I guess their grunts or like their henchmen kind of end up just being just there for the heroes to kick ass,
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
So I was pleasantly surprised to see that the deviants were not nothing to fuck around with, you know? Like they killed some of the characters, and even when they were like in 1v1s, like you were always scared for like whichever character they were fighting, because even Icarus, like the strongest one, even he had trouble fighting them sometimes, you know?
Dude, yeah, like he was getting handled by one, so it was like no matter which one it was like them being alone and secluded with another deviant that was always stressful. I thought a lot of people going into this movie probably thought they were going to get a lot more action sequences than we initially got in the film. But in a movie like this, you know, you need the actors to kind of like carry the movie. And I think for the most part, every single one of them did that. And then that being said, with that many actors too, like heavy hitting actors and actresses, like you would definitely be able to tell if somebody like dropped the ball in the film or whatever. But honestly, I thought everybody was cast really perfectly, and I think my only quarrel with the characters was I just wanted to know more about them. That's really my thing. I just wanted to have a little bit more time for their backstories, you know?
Yeah, and I think like we're gonna say lots of stuff about the movie, but I think it really all just boils down to like the movie itself was too long, but it also didn't have enough of the characters in it for me to really care about them.
Yeah.
And so you said off camera, she was saying that she thought it should have been 2 movies.
Yeah.
Which I kind of agree with, because they could have taken some of that exposition out and left it for a second movie, but then we would also get the characters in 2 movies and just have more of them, more to understand
and more to love.
Actually make a connection with them. Because as it was, like when some of them would die, I was just like, oh. Like in my mind, I would think, oh, that's serious. Like, you know, that's gonna have consequences for the movie.
Yeah.
But emotionally, like I didn't feel anything, you know?
And that was my biggest thing in this movie, is because like, as we all know, if you follow our channel, I do emotionally attach myself to a lot of these MCU characters. I love them. And that's mainly because, you know, when people would put out their stories, they took time to spell it out well and for me to care about them. But I didn't get that as much as I wanted in this movie, because I know that these characters, like, I would love them so much if I just had more time with them. So it sucked when one of them would die, and I was just like, I'm not upset about this because I barely know him.
I was kind of upset because I was like, damn, I'm not going to get to know anything more
Exactly,
now.
That too. That's why I would have wanted this first movie to be like backstory movie, then second movie in the now. You know, I would have really appreciated that.
I think a lot of expectations that were set also had a lot to do with the marketing. I feel like in a way, like Marvel always does that. They always try to like trick us with the trailers, like make it seem like it's going to go one way, or it's like not what the movie was at all, you know? But this was the only time I can really think of that they kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Right.
And made us all think that this movie was going to be something that it was not.
Yeah.
Like they really stuffed the trailer full of action scenes.
They really did. And that's another thing that upset me as well, is because almost every single action scene you see in the trailer, those are the action scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
So I I mean, other than the people who they ended up killing off, I wasn't really surprised by anything because we had already seen it in the trailers.
Now, for Madison and I being like big Marvel fans, big MCU fans especially, this like kind of exposition dump that the movie takes on you sometimes, it didn't really bother us that much, I don't think. Like I was able to follow along and understand and be entertained.
Right.
But some people I had talked to were like straight bored by it. And I can honestly kind of see where those people are coming from, you know? I don't expect everyone to be like a huge MCU fan like Madison and I are.
Yeah.
Especially you think of like families who are just taking their kids out for the weekend to go see like the newest Marvel movie.
Yeah.
My heart kind of goes out for those parents that don't really know what the hell's going on in this movie, you know?
Oh my God, the poor kids. They're just sitting there like, am I at school learning?
Yeah, it's like 2.5 hours, and like I don't see a lot of little kids being able to sit through this.
I don't know. I think they bit off a little bit more than they could chew.
That's what I'm saying. But I guess that's also kind of the nature of the Eternals. It's not like they could omit characters. Like they had to use all of them.
It was either all or none.
All or none, yeah. So.
But I'm fine with them using all of them. But like we said earlier, I think 2-part movie would have been the way to go.
Yeah. Now with that being said, you know, I did think that this movie was so crowded with characters, and I was interested in all of them. There just wasn't enough screen time to go around. There wasn't enough time to share.
Yeah.
And because of that, I'm a little confused as to why they decided to add the Dane Whitman character. I feel like he was kind of there for no reason other than to put Kit Harington in the movie with Richard Madden, you know?
Yeah, I now after seeing the movie, it really does, you're kind of like, bro, y'all could have literally just saved him for the end credit scene.
Or like, something, yeah, like with a movie just like full of characters that I don't know and I'm learning about for the first time.
Why did you add one more?
Why are you adding more? Yeah.
Yeah. And then, and I mean, to be fair, we thought he would have some role in the actual plot line of the movie.
I did.
And no, he did not. He actually had no plot line other than to talk to Cersei at one point to explain to us who the Eternals were. And then at the end, when he decided to let us, the audience, know that he's an important character.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of like you literally could have just saved him right for the end credit scene, and then boom, Eternals 2.
Now, I've seen some people online say, well, he was kind of a stand-in for us, right? He was kind of like there to answer questions that we would ask, but it's like we already had a human character with the gang. Kingo's the guy that was following him around with the camera. We already had a human character with them the whole movie. Like, why wasn't that just the guy, you know?
And that guy was also very funny. He was a great part of the movie.
Yeah, I did love him and Kingo, just their whole dynamic. Really, just anytime they were on screen, I was laughing my ass off, really. Yeah, I really did think that Kit Harington's character was going to do something at some point in this movie. I thought we would see
with the sword,
the blade at some point, and he just very briefly mentions it at the end. So I guess I am pretty excited to see what they end up doing with that character.
Same.
I think everyone wants Kit Harington to succeed, especially given like how rough the last season of GOT was. I know we want to see him succeed. So
yes,
it was a little disappointing to see that he really didn't do much in this movie. But I guess it just gets me excited to see what they end up doing with him. Right?
Yeah, and the rest of the characters that did survive the movie.
Yeah.
That being said, I do want to say 2 of my new favorite characters in the Eternals group is definitely Druig and the what was her name again? Makari. Honestly, they barely got any screen time, but they did a really good job showing us like that they cared for each other. And I did love seeing a girl who was deaf on camera using sign language. It was really, really cool. And I think there was even a scene where they showed on one of the walls of her teaching the people in ancient Egypt and Babylonia sign language, because she obviously had to do that or something like that. So I thought it was...
I didn't see that. Are they trying to insinuate she created sign language?
No, it was supposed to be her on the wall, but I saw her using her hands, so I figured maybe that was a way
That was a question I had. Like, how did she know... Because sign language is from America, isn't it? ASL, American Sign Language?
American Sign Language, yeah.
So, I mean, it can't be any older than America is.
That could stand to reason because I know there's been deaf people longer than America's been around. So it could be our direct derivative of the language because we have to use our alphabet.
Or she did create it and Fastos maybe got people to teach it to each other or something.
Oh,
I don't know.
help spread the knowledge of that.
That's one of the things I wish they had touched on more in this movie. Like, we went back in time so much, but we only did it for like a second and then it was like back to the present.
Yeah.
I wish we had seen more of like the movie, like the movie Forrest Gump. Like throughout Forrest Gump, you see like Forrest was in these like different historical moments that he kind of had a hand in creating sometimes.
Right.
I wish we had seen that with the Eternals. Like all throughout history, they like had these little moments where they kind of pushed us in a direction one way or another.
Which is a really cool thing.
And we kind of got that with the Fastos scene where like the nuke went off at Hiroshima and he was there crying and stuff.
Yeah,
like this, he kind of felt like it was his fault because he gave us the technology to do it. I thought that was an amazing scene, and it was like 1 or 2 minutes, and then we were on to the next thing, and I was like, I want to see more of that. Like that's why I'm here.
Exactly. Like we wanted to like understand who the Eternals were, what lessons they've learned along the way, because I feel like an omnipotent kind of being like that who's lived for thousands of years
would have a lot to say and like show for
and
you know?
have made a lot of mistakes. So
there was that one point where Cersei was walking up to the college at the very beginning of the movie, and she saw a statue of Charles Darwin, and she was like, I know I'm late, Charles. And I turned to you and I was like, I bet she knew him. And I thought for sure at some point we would see a flashback where she was talking to Charles Darwin or something. It never happened.
No.
I just feel like there was a lot of missed opportunities, or even opportunities to connect it to the MCU. True. Why not do like a flashback where like they did take part in something that was happening, like the Battle of New York or the Battle in Sokovia or some, like they were like off on the sideline or something, doing something to save people but to not be seen or something, you
right
know?
Like they literally could do that. I mean, we see in the Star Wars universe all the time, nothing is set in stone, right? They can go to the same Order 66 and literally show us a whole nother area of how it was done and what people were doing. So I would have appreciated that because there's just so many battles that have gone on, and even though the Eternals are told not to step in, it doesn't mean that they follow the rules all the time, because we've seen multiple times in this movie specifically that they didn't follow those rules. So I don't think, you know, this is the first time they're breaking the rules and doing it. I'm pretty sure they would have helped us, you know, thousands of years ago or even hundreds of years ago. So I wish they would have shown that. That would have been cool.
Now the Eternals themselves, we already talked about Kingo a little bit and Druig and Makari. I do want to talk about the relationship between Gilgamesh and Thena, not Athena, just Thena.
Drop the A.
Yeah, drop the A. I just, in their short amount of time, I really like had a connection with the two of them. It seemed more like brother or sister.
Yeah,
not
like
so
friendships.
much. Yeah, not so much like romantic to me. But again, there was just not enough time with them. So when Gilgamesh died, I was like, well, what now? You know, like now I'm not gonna get to learn about them. Like the only things I would learn about them now would be through flashbacks. Same with Ajax, Selma Hayek's character. I killed her right at the beginning, and I was like, I looked at Mass and I was like, damn, that means all the scenes with her in the trailers
are just
flashbacks. Like we're not gonna see anything new of her in this movie.
Yeah.
That was wild to me that they decided to do that. Now, for the most part, all the relationships between the characters I felt were pretty believable, and you know, I enjoyed and I connected with on a base level at least. The one that I really didn't connect with at all, like the whole movie, was the Cersei Icarus relationship. At no point did I feel convinced that these two people even liked each other, let alone loved each other. And I guess like in hindsight, you watch the movie again and you kind of can tell why Icarus is acting the way he is, because at that point he already killed Ajax.
Yeah. So he was already guilty and everything.
Yeah, he already felt guilty, but there would be scenes where he'd be like, Cersei, I love you. And it's just like,
bro, you look like you're gonna murder her.
Yeah, you're like, you don't look happy at all. Like I don't know. And then the same thing with Kit Harington's character, Dane Whitman, and Cersei too. Just like both of those dudes, I felt like she had no connection with. And I don't really want to blame the actress, but I don't really know who gets the blame here. Like, is it the writing? Is it the actress? Like, it just felt like they had no chemistry.
I felt like First of all, I felt like the Dane and Cersei, they weren't even given any scenes where they could be romantic, first of all, with each other. I mean, they were always either out in public, in the freezing cold,
or in the classroom in that one scene.
Yeah, in the classroom. So it's like, they never really had like alone time, right?
And I don't really think it's fair to blame, I guess, the lack of connection between those characters on like the time they got, like the screen time, because they got more screen time than Makari and Druid got.
Yeah.
And I liked that relationship way more than I liked that like love triangle thing that was going on.
Yeah.
It was more believable and like heartfelt to me. And I honestly think that relationship got the only emotional like reaction out of me. Like when Druid, I think, was in the fight and it looked like he really got hurt.
Yeah.
And Makari screamed, but she's deaf, so she can't scream.
Yeah.
That was like the only part in the entire movie that got me to like choke up a little bit. I was like, oh God. Like,
I know, same.
That like hurt my heart.
It did, yeah. And then she freaked out and kicked some ass. But you're absolutely right. That was definitely, I felt more in that scene.
But that's kind of baffling to me that I feel more for these characters who like got such little screen time. One of them can't even speak. And then the ones who are like the stars of the show, like I almost like felt nothing for,
Yeah. And I don't know why that was, because, like we said earlier, the movie felt long because of the amount of exposition, and it was a long movie. I mean, 2 hours and 30 something minutes.
Yeah.
That's a long movie. That's enough time for you to tell me a little bit more about, your main love triangle. But yeah, like the characters who got less screen time did a better job portraying their love to each other. And I don't know, that kind of sucked. Because I mean, I love Game of Thrones. He loves Game of Thrones. We were super excited to see Richard Madden and Kit Harington in a Marvel movie. So, I mean, to not see them get like the chemistry matchup, I guess, that they needed on camera, that kind of sucks, because we all know they're great actors.
Yeah. Now, real quick, I did want to talk about Sprite briefly. I did enjoy her powers. I wish we had seen more of it. It kind of reminded me of like an old man Loki, just like crazy amount of like illusions.
Yes, like doing tricks for the public and
I wanted
stuff.
to see like the extent of what she could do, because there was that one part where she made like a bunch of volcanoes.
Oh yeah.
That was crazy. Like I feel like people are kind of overlooking that. Like
that was incredible.
It was incredible that old man Loki was able to make
like the whole Asgard.
Yeah, all of Asgard, but
he trained for a long time to be able to do that.
Not that many people are giving Sprite credit for all those volcanoes. That was crazy.
It was awesome.
Now that being said, her characterization, I know she was like the Peter Pan thing, like I'm in a young person's body and I can't have normal relationships with people. I felt for her, but I also don't really feel like at the end of the movie she was redeemed or deserved what Cersei did for her, like making her human so that she could live a normal life.
Yeah.
What did she do to deserve that? Because she was ready to turn on all her friends, all her people, the other Eternals, and go with Icarus.
And she stabbed her. She stabbed
She
Cersei.
did stab her, yeah.
She stabbed Cersei. Literally, I mean...
Literally stabbed her in the back.
Literally stabbed her in the back, yeah. I mean, and what? All for the reasoning that she couldn't be with Icarus? Like,
she wanted a fresh restart, I think. She wanted a redo. Because I think they even told him, like, they get their minds wiped when they go to the next planet. Because they've done this before.
Oh, yeah, that's... Okay, that's what she wanted. Yeah, she wanted this to go through because she wanted her own new life. But to be fair, what Cersei gave her, she didn't deserve it. Straight up,
I don't think she did. And then, Cersei was, like, super cool to still be like, hey, I know you stabbed me and you tried to kill me, but, like, I'm gonna do this for you anyway. You know, like, I wish you had told her a little sooner before she stabbed you that you could make her human, you know?
You could have literally told her that like 20 minutes ago and she wouldn't have stabbed you.
They obviously didn't know that they could do that because they hadn't tried the Unimind yet.
Yeah.
And so I guess when Cersei realized how much power she had, then she realized she could change her, but I don't know. I wish at some point during the fight she'd be like, hold on, Sprite, like wherever you are, girl, I can turn you human, just don't stab me.
Do you want to talk to me about like what you're upset about? Let's talk this out. Yeah, honestly, I did like Sprite's character a lot too. I thought some of the jokes with Sprite were funny. But yeah, I would have liked to see more of Sprite's powers because, anybody that's kind of like what would you call that? Like a sorcerer like that. I always enjoy powers like that. So.
And I was a little disappointed that that's what they did. Like that's what she decided to do. Like team up with Icarus at the end, because I really liked her throughout the beginning of the movie. I really felt for her. Yeah. And then when she did that at the end of the movie, I was like, well, I don't feel bad for you anymore, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, to be fair, Icarus had to have somebody on his side.
I guess so, yeah.
Because
he was all alone, yeah.
Yeah, because the other guy wasn't gonna go with him either. So Kingo, yeah.
I do briefly want to talk about the end credit scenes. We did see the first one, like the mid-credit scene.
Yeah.
And I recognized that it was Eros like right away.
Yeah.
What I didn't recognize right away is that it was Harry Styles. And I heard girls screaming like, oh my god! And I was just like, oh, people are hyped for Eros? Me too. Like I didn't understand why people were screaming.
And then I'm not, I guess, a normal girl. I have no idea who Harry Styles is.
I actually turned it, I was like, is that Harry Styles? And you were like, I don't know.
I was like, who's Harry Styles? Like, I think he's in one of those like bands like One Direction or something.
Yeah.
So I didn't know who he was, and I was just like, who's the character? Who's the character? And he was like, well, that's Harry Styles. And I was like, who is that? like who is he in the MCU? But that was a cool scene. I'm really excited for that. And I think that means we're definitely going to get some more Angelina Jolie too.
And then the second post-credit scene, we actually did not see, because we thought it was done. We should have known. I don't think I've ever missed an MCU post-credit scene.
I've never either.
I just had to pee so bad, and I was like, okay, we saw that post-credit scene. All right, let's get out of here.
I mean, to be fair though, like it's normally just one.
Not always. Sometimes it is the second one.
I know it's not always, and there's sometimes a second one, but like for the most part, it's most of the time just one.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
So, I mean, we do know about it. Apparently, it's Dane Whitman, it's Kit Harington going to get his blade.
His blade that we didn't see.
And there's someone who speaks to him. Now, I saw a lot of people, I guess, confused as to who that was and, like, theorizing who it was. But I saw the director come out and say that that was Blade.
Yeah.
So that was dope. A little Blade set up already. I mean, we all pretty much knew it was coming, but it's nice to see at least, like, the beginnings of it.
I'm so excited. I don't know if I've ever told you, but I loved the Blade movies. Like growing up, my dad and I used to watch them all the time. So that one scene in Falcon and Winter Soldier when that dude, he brought up, yeah, all the witches and vampires and monsters in our universe. When he said vampires, I was like, oh my God, are we gonna get Blade?
Yeah.
And it's finally happening. So I'm super bummed that I missed that end credit scene. But honestly, it's worth it if I'm gonna get some Blade in the MCU.
Right, yeah. And then now we have Morbius from Sony coming out. It's like, if they do decide to cross over, that's the perfect villain for him. He's already established. It's a famous actor, and Jared Leto, you know, so I feel like that could work.
And then they could fight each other.
Given if the Morbius movie is good. If it's not good, then I don't think the MCU will want to connect it to that.
I'm gonna be so mad if it's not good.
Hopefully, like they have a little bit of say in what happens in the movie, and it's not all on Sony.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Yeah.
So overall, guys, I think we really enjoyed this movie. Was it the greatest MCU film of all time? No. But did it deserve the low ratings that everybody was giving it? I don't think so. I mean, out of like 100, I think I would give it like 77, 78. It wasn't as bad as they said. So hopefully, as time goes on, people will appreciate the film a little better.
All right, guys, if you made it this far, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We had a lot of fun getting to talk about our experience and the movie. We do have some stuff planned for this month. Shang-Chi's coming out later, I guess in like a week and a half. We're gonna be watching that for you guys. We've been avoiding spoilers for Shang-Chi since it came out, so hopefully it'll be a great reaction. We're also gonna be watching Cowboy Bebop later this month, and then Hawkeye, of course, when it premieres. But until then, we have a little bit of space, a little bit of room. We could fit in another show. So we've narrowed it down to 3 that people have been recommending, I guess, the most this past month. So it's going to be either My Name, The Boys Season 2, because Season 3 is coming up soon, and we still haven't seen Season 2. So we need to catch up on it before Season 3 comes out. Or the new Netflix show, Midnight Mass. So it's going to be narrowed down to those 3 shows. whichever one you pick, you can leave it down in the comments. You can leave it on our Instagram. I'm gonna tally everything from our social medias. I'm also gonna put a poll out on YouTube later in the week, and then I'm just gonna add up all the votes, and then whichever one wins, that's the one we're gonna be reacting to. So out of those 3 shows, whichever one is your favorite, hopefully that's the one that wins. But even if it doesn't, don't be upset, because our plan is to get to, to all of the shows that everyone recommends to us. Our plan is to, at some point in the next year, add more video editors so that we can push even more videos out for you guys. But until then, it's just going to be the 2 of us, so we have to be very picky and choosy which shows and movies we do, So yeah, guys, make sure to vote for your favorite. We look forward to seeing which one you guys decide upon. And comment down below your thoughts on the Eternals movie. We love hearing from you guys. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. It really helps us out. And go ahead and follow the Instagram to keep updated with the channel and see pictures of us and the dogs. As always, you guys are the best. We're going to catch y'all in the next one. Peace out.
Bye, guys.
We're here for the movie.